Hello, everybody. It's Jack Thompson here from Political Lounge. We have Jeremy and Kyler with us here today.
How's everybody doing?
What we'll be going over today is really just everything in general that's happened over the last week. The Comey testimony, the Jeff Sessions Senate testimony, and Robert Mueller's special investigation into Trump's purported collusion with Russia. It had nothing completely solid or confirmed has come out yet, but let's just start off, and I want to hear everyone's thoughts in general. The Comey testimony.
Alright, so the Comey testimony was very, very interesting. So my big takeaway from it was I don't think Trump had anything to do with Russia. And I think that's been pretty, I think people are starting to realize that Trump, there could have been advisors and stuff, but I think the whole Russia collusion story is getting very solid that Russia did interfere with their elections and they did hack the DNC and all that. And Comey said that he had no doubt about that, and he was obviously director of the FBI. He saw all the evidence. We don't see the evidence, but he did. And same with Jeff Sessions. He said that it's a great probability that they did. But the Russia collusion story is getting a lot more, there's less evidence about it. And I think it's a good chance that really nothing will come out of it. But what I do think now, what has happened was Trump can't keep his mouth shut, and now that he's put himself into this whole thing with collusion, and so that's not good. But I think
so. You're saying he's almost being over defensive, kind of.
Yeah,
he's
being over defensive, and that's led him into this.
It's kind of like raising questions, and
so
he's almost digging himself in a hole.
Yeah, now Robert Mueller's investigating him, and I don't think really, because the way I think a lot of it might have just been Trump's rookie mistakes. Like Paul Ryan said, he's new at this, which, isn't that greatest thing to say about him.
It's been almost 5 months?
Yeah, but still, it's true. He's still a rookie at it. But I like to go into actual testimony.
He's still a young chap at this,
Yeah, he's a youngster of only 71. Anyway, but what I'd like to talk about first before we get into any of the Trump stuff, what I thought was interesting was in the Hillary Clinton case. And so Comey was talking about how, basically, Loretta Lynch, at one point, had asked Comey to call the investigation a matter instead of an investigation, which he said concerned him and confused him. And one of the big things about this was the Hillary Clinton campaign at the time was also calling it a matter. So that basically correlates from what Loretta Lynch said to what Hillary Clinton campaign said, which shows that there could have been collusion. There probably was collusion.
Yeah, but let's focus on our current.
I know, but
that's the word of the day.
I know.
Collusion.
I just like to go into this because it's very interesting. Just for a second, and so Comey eventually did call it a matter, and then so that was one of the reasons why he wanted to announce the results of the investigation, because he thought that, especially with the tarmac meeting that had just happened between Bill Clinton and Loretta Lynch, that he wanted to keep credibility inside the FBI, and so that's basically the reason why he announced the investigation in the way that he did, and that's something that I found interesting, and that's something that I'd questioned for a while why he did that.
I think Comey's always been a pretty honest,
straightforward guy. I think he's very, but he's also
people have said the whole memo thing is vindictive. But if you look at the circumstances, assuming he's telling the truth, which isn't guaranteed, but we're pretty confident he's telling the truth here, that he was in the right, honestly, recording these things and having evidence of what Trump said to him, and
it was smart
with the whole Loretta Lynch thing. Yes.
But I also think he's proven to be kind of a weak person if you think about it, because he couldn't stand up for himself with Loretta Lynch. He couldn't set if he truly thought what Trump was saying to him was wrong, he should have said, "Yo, Trump, you can't be saying that, Mr. President, and with all due respect, you shouldn't be asking me that." Because if Trump was really just he wasn't actually trying to obstruct justice, and he was just trying to he was saying oh yeah, I hope you could let Flynn go, not as an order, but as just oh yeah, I hope you could let him go, just how would a normal person would talk about one of his friends. He should have said, "Trump, Mr. President, I don't think you should be doing that." But he didn't, and instead he just told some people in the inner circle of the FBI. He didn't even tell Jeff Sessions or the acting Deputy Attorney General, and he just kept it to himself.
That's a fair point. So Comey, it wasn't the smartest thing to do by Comey, but at the same time, it's not his responsibility to be running president daycare.
Yeah, but I know
exactly.
Like,
but it is a law.
Trump, you can't say, oh, because somebody didn't tell Trump what to do and then Trump didn't listen, that it's that person's fault.
Yeah, I know, but I think he still should have said something. And also, it's the law that if you do think that somebody, like, so if Comey did think that Trump was truly trying to obstruct justice, it was his responsibility legally to tell his superiors, because it's against the law.
He is the superior. He doesn't have superiors.
No, the deputy attorney general is the superior. The deputy
well, technically yes, but he's still the head of the FBI, and the FBI doesn't technically answer to the attorney general.
Yeah, but he's supposed to tell them. He's supposed to tell them by law. He's supposed to tell.
Not if he launches a private FBI investigation.
Okay, whatever.
That's I guess it's kind of we're getting off topic.
Yeah, because if you're a witness of a crime, you're supposed to tell somebody. And so if that was a crime, if he truly thought that was obstruction of justice, which he didn't see,
but he never said that at the time, right? He just thought it was awkward and incorrect for a president.
Maybe he thought it was some weird banter.
Comey
it would have never came up again if Trump didn't fire him.
That's the thing. Comey never said that it was obstruction of justice, which I think is interesting. I mean, he could have said that in the private session, but I don't think if he did, that would have been a bigger story. So there was a lot of meetings with Trump and Comey, and him asking him some weird things about Russia, saying I hope you can let this go.
And the whole loyalty thing.
Oh yeah.
That one was very strange.
Yeah, you can interpret that.
There's a lot of ways you can look at that.
You can interpret it as just some casual banter.
Yeah.
Or you could.
Which Trump does a lot. He says a lot of things.
Trump likes to banter.
He says a lot of.
Another word of the day.
Banter. He has the best words.
Yeah.
But so it's very interesting, and that's what the special counsel is here to do. They're gonna interpret that, and I think also a thing that Trump really wanted was he asked him if Comey could say to the public that Trump was under investigation, and which I thought was interesting because your question in the letter that Trump sent to Comey was why did he say I appreciate that you told me on 3 separate occasions that I was not under investigation, but I think that's because he wanted the American people to know that he wasn't under investigation, because basically when the media keeps on saying, oh, Trump colluded with Russia and all this, and he's under investigation, it's interfering with his job, and so now he can't do what he's trying to do for the American people, and so he wanted to. And there's.
But firing Comey doesn't.
Well, yeah. No, I
feel
know. That's the reason why.
The thing about all of this scandal and collusion,
mm-hmm.
You could say that a lot of this is hurting Trump's agenda.
It is, yeah.
I mean, this has been
everything the Senate should be doing over the past 2 weeks, 3 weeks, right?
If you think about it,
it's been wiped away. It's basically just testimonies.
I know.
Mm-hmm. Because there's been a Senate Intel Committee investigation on this too. So a lot of senators, the Congress is just not doing what they're supposed to be doing on Trump's agenda. But and so basically now it's led to yesterday. The special counsel announced that basically Trump now is under investigation for obstruction of justice.
That was a lovely birthday gift from Ron.
I know, a lovely birthday gift. Thanks, that, and one of his friends getting shot.
The one thing, maybe you guys can clarify this for me. I'm not. I thought the special counsel's purpose was to investigate collusion with Russia.
Yeah, but now it's.
So, what if it has to do with an obstruction of? Yeah, I guess.
Take it on a bigger role.
Because
I don't know. It just seems that part kind of seems weird to me, but.
Because it's now getting intertwined.
Yeah.
And so
that's
I
true.
think and then it's now sparked this debate on whether or not Mueller is credible, and because now he has people inside of his team that have donated thousands upon thousands of dollars to the Clinton campaign.
Well, no, it's 5 out of the 9 people.
Yeah, fine, but still, so that could have a because that's the majority.
Yes,
5 out of 9, and so that could, and so but then the thing is Trump has fired Comey. Trump has fired Sally Yates and I mean people think that was because of Russia, but that was actually because she wasn't enforcing the travel ban. He's fired a good few people that had.
Well, I mean, I think looking at it from a business perspective.
Now he's considering to fire Mueller.
He was considering to fire Mueller, but everyone told him not to. Everybody basically.
And that was
if he fired Mueller, that would basically
said not to.
It would give anyone a chance to jump on the entire Russia thing, triple the strength of the investigation. basically turn over every single rock in the
Yeah, it
entire
would've
Trump
been
campaign.
If they were,
and it would basically ruin his presidency.
So I think
There's-
Trump
he would no
realized
longer
that
have
was
support
not
of-
the right thing to do. So what needs to happen now is that they need to just let this investigation happen.
Yeah,
I think
because
they
it's
have
really
to-
as simple as...
It's only a matter of just weathering the storm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Waiting,
because
just let it
everything
happen.
everything that has happened with Trump has been like that's true because I don't think he colluded. Everything that has happened so far, like now that he's under investigation, he did that to himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because,
And
like,
so he
honestly,
just needs to let it happen. And
if he committed an obstruction of justice, it's gonna get found out, basically. There's, at this point, right?
Well, yeah, they're gonna
If
say the results.
he
of the
didn't commit an
investigation.
obstruction of justice or didn't intentionally commit an obstruction of justice, right? Nothing bad's gonna come of this investigation, and that's the way it should be. I'm
Mhm.
confident right now there's nothing going on in the investigation that's gonna sway the results unfairly, right?
Yeah.
In general. So, I mean, if he did nothing, this is the point where you basically just say, okay, we gotta ignore this investigation, go on with our lives, hope that they don't do more stuff to the media or something that ruins everything,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
And just move on. Because if he truly did nothing, then I don't see why they can't move on from it.
Mhm. That's just a frustrating thing. So now you can see he's going on and he's done a few things this week. He's signed the apprenticeship and workforce of tomorrow initiatives, which gives more money to apprenticeships in companies so that workers who don't want to go to college and get buried in debt and stuff could get these apprenticeships so they could get the skills that they need to do some of the jobs like technicians, like all the building, entrepreneurs, all these things that they could do, and they get paid. So then now they could have a better job, make more money, and not be in debt. So that's a very good thing. And he also Trump also releases new policy on Cuba, and
I just saw
he
that was
took
just
out
this morning actually.
the Obama
Friday morning.
administration Cuba policy. So now tightening of individual traveling rules to Cuba, regulations on transactions with Cuban intel security, restrictions on commerce with Cuban government. Also, I heard Trump say that they're not going to lift sanctions on Cuba until all their political prisoners have been released, which is very good. And I think
That's fair. Yeah, the Cuba thing, I don't necessarily fully believe in putting sanctions on Cuba.
Yeah.
But if it's for that reason, then I guess you can't really say it's bad, right?
I mean, it seems like
as long as what they're doing isn't harming the people of Cuba too extensively, right? Then it's not an issue.
And people in Miami seem to be very happy about that, because people flee from Cuba.
Coming to Florida.
Yeah. So yeah, I think there's a lot of good things, and I think I really do hope that this Trump just goes on and works for the American people and doesn't dwell on this anymore.
Yeah.
And the investigation just goes on, and hopefully they just don't there's nothing there. I mean, if there is.
One interesting thing I want to say from a business perspective with Trump, if you run a business and one of your workers isn't doing their job, you fire them. Even if they are doing a job, just not a job you want them to, you fire them, right?
And I think Trump was used
and
to that.
And that's what he's basically been doing with our government, which is so different because it's not supposed to be your business; it's the people's business. He's just a worker in the government. He's not like the owner, right?
Yeah.
We're the owner, the people.
Yes.
So that's why
Exactly.
it's a completely different mentality and mindset from what he's used to in running things, which isn't necessarily an excuse, but it's a reason.
That's a really good way to put it.
And he's been doing this since he was 20 years old, and so that's
his whole life he's done things from a business perspective.
Yeah.
And now he's almost completely flipping it.
Yeah.
Which who knows? This may prove to be good for our country.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the main reasons why people elected Trump was because they didn't want the typical politician.
And with him comes a lot of now the unemployment rate has plummeted to all-time lows. Stock markets are at all-time highs. And I think now, especially with the stock market,
you could say that he's just riding the wave of Obama.
The stock market was because after Trump was elected, it fell hard.
Well, it's because whenever the underdog candidate wins, the stock market goes down.
So it goes down because there's uncertainty about Trump. And then once they started to realize, he could lower taxes, he could limit regulations, that could be good for us. People started investing. The Dow Jones Industrial hit 20,000 for the first time ever, and now it's at like it averages like at 21, 22 all the time. Mm-hmm. And so because there's a lot of promise, and so now it needs to happen. Is tax reform needs to happen, and healthcare needs to happen, and all these things need to happen because honestly, if they don't get that done, then the Republicans are going to have a hard time in 2018, especially with the House. Not really with the Senate though, because the Senate will be easy. Because the Senate has 3 people, or like the races that are tight, like the races that are like we don't know, it could go either way, are still all in very Republican states, like Ted Cruz, like other things but like a lot of them are in like Alabama stuff, like where like Republicans are gonna win no matter what. Yeah. But then like even the tight races are still in places that are pretty Republican states. And then also you have, if Trump gets his agenda done and stuff, and the people are happy about it, then they have Ohio, they have Wisconsin, they have Michigan senators, they have Florida senators that are all Democrats that are up for re-election in 2018 that could lose their seats. So I mean, it all depends on
what happens.
2018 all depends on what happens with the Trump agenda later this year, and so hopefully he get that going.
So I do have one little last news update here on the whole Russia thing. Mm-hmm. With the election, this is something that doesn't involve Trump at all, although a lot of people say it's a rebuke against Trump. Mm-hmm. The Senate passed a bill saying that Congress is able to review sanctions against Russia by the White House, essentially. Mm-hmm. And it still has to get approved by the House, but if the Senate has passed it, the House most likely will too, since the Senate voted nearly unanimously on it. Basically, it sanctions against Russia's mining, metals, shipping, and railway sectors. And it allows new sanctions against those conducting cyber attacks on behalf of the Russian government. And it also goes a little bit into Iran, but it's mostly against Russia, so that's one thing. Currently, that's what America has done in response to the whole election hacking thing. It's not really a conspiracy anymore, because it's basically accepted now.
Yeah, I think it's widely accepted.
Now the conspiracy is whether Trump was involved, but I think the way this is going to pan out is Trump wasn't involved. He's did a lot of stupid things that make him look like he's involved. But he wasn't involved. Russia did something they should never do, which is interfering with our democratic process. But Trump can't be blamed for that.
Yeah. And also something interesting, the FBI said that they wouldn't indict Trump, and the Justice Department said they wouldn't indict Trump, even if they did find obstruction of justice. So then it would go to Congress to impeach him, which, as long as it stays Republican... Unless it's like pretty deep.
It have to be so bad that they know they'd lose their jobs if they didn't vote.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's a very low chance that'll happen.
But only time will tell.
Only time will tell.
Yeah. Impeachment. Hate to say it. No, I'm just kidding. I don't want to get impeached. Impeachment is basically off the table.
Yeah, chances of that happening.
Yeah, there's no way. Something that might damage his entire presidency and overshadow anything he accomplishes over the next 4 years. That's possible. Impeachment is not going to happen.
Yeah. Okay, you guys want to call that a show?
Yep. That's a wrap. So everyone, please go hit the like button, hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much for listening. Hope you have an amazing day.